Would you believe that after all the years I've played guitar, all the pedal videos that I've done, all the amplifier videos, guitar videos, this is my first JHS pedal. This is the Unicorn V2 Univibe. So I've been to a party hosted by Josh Scott. The first time I went to a NAMM show, I was with a small independent pedal company, and he was hosting a party for independent pedal companies. Met him in my first NAMM show. This was like 12 years ago or so. I met him again at another NAMM show. I have his kids' book. I found out that Josh Scott and his wife wrote a kid's book, and I really wanted to pick one up, but I couldn't find them anywhere. So I emailed JHS Pedals, and they were like, oh, we've got boxes of them here. You can have one. So they sent me this. This is called The Rarest of All. It's a guitar-oriented kids' book. It's about a unicorn who goes on a journey of self-discovery. Now, when he's out on the path of his life, he gets intimidated by all these really rare and mythical characters, which are based on rare and mythical guitar things. There's a 59 Les Paul, a Dumble, a Klon Centaur, a Nocaster, and these other things, only to find out at the end that really those things aren't actually that special, and he is just as special as all of them, and he doesn't need to feel like he has less worth. It's a great message. It's a really cute kid's book. From a guitar player standpoint, it's actually especially silly, but it's fun to read to your kids, and I've read this to my kids. Met him, have his kids' book, never owned a JHS pedal. And that's not for any reason. I've never been against JHS pedals or anything like that. They just, for whatever reason, haven't come across my path. You know, I receive a lot of pedals in exchange for reviews. I do a lot of trading, and it's just never happened. I've wanted a whole bunch of them and just kind of never made ends meet. So this one showed up on the used market, and I wound up picking it up because not only does this connect with the kids' book, but also I have 5 daughters. And so if you can believe this, I know a thing or two about unicorns. The Univibe is I want to say it's my favorite modulation. Probably when push comes to shove, my favorite is really tremolo, but I kind of consider that as it's sort of its own thing. I know it is a modulation effect, but tremolo's different than the other modulation effects. The sort of warbly, washy, squishy modulation effects, Univibe is 100% my favorite. This one sounds amazing. It's all analog. It's got photocells. He was the first one to do it with a tap tempo, which is really neat. It's got the ratio control, and it has a very, very convincing both dry and wet sound. Interestingly, to me, a good Univibe is kind of like halfway between a chorus and a phaser, right? It obviously has a huge connection with phaser, but it also has kind of a vibrato effect, and it's got that sort of similarity between the dry-wet of mixing in the signal, the dry signal, to give you that sort of lush chorusy thing versus the pitch shifting vibrato. And this does both really well. So what I want to do right now is dive back in and give you more of a run through of what this pedal is capable of. Now, obviously, a lot of people like Univibes for Hendrix. And kind of when I switched to the neck pickup back there, you probably noticed it got a little bit into Hendrixian territory. The cool thing is to mix these with a fuzz, obviously. And so I'm actually going to run this into a Dunlop Hendrix Mini Fuzz Face. Really, really awesome tone. The order is important. And I've actually kind of determined I like using modulation effects earlier in the signal chain. It makes them a little bit more subtle. If you use them after the dirt, it makes the modulation effects seem much, much heavier. Neither is right or wrong. It's a personal preference thing, but I do want to mention that I am running this into the fuzz. So let's have a listen to that. All right, now lastly, I want to go to its vibrato mode, its wet mode. It's the wet only. And this gets a really cool kind of lo-fi sort of sound. And this is actually something that's neat too. So another connection to JHS that many of you probably share. I have binge watched more than a few of the JHS YouTube videos before. Probably a lot of you have too. I think they do great videos. I really enjoy them. And I watched his about Univibes, and he actually talked about a tone that he thought was underappreciated, that I also agree is underappreciated, and something that I like to use with it, which is using a subtle vibrato, subtle and slow vibrato effect. And now that can be done with the Univibe. It can also be done with other pedals. I mean, it can be done with a vibrato pedal. It can be done with chorus pedals. It can be done with a lot of different things. To me, it reminds me of that sort of slow, subtle Bill Frisell detuned waviness. And I actually don't know how Bill gets his tones. I know he uses a lot of pedals, but he has this really sort of magical, it almost sounds like you're listening to his Telecaster tone through like an old, slightly warped analog tape, that kind of effect. So I'm going to dial this up a little bit more for the vibrato effect than I would actually personally use it, mostly because this is a review, so you can hear it a little bit more. I would use the vibrato effect on this almost so low you can barely discern that it's there. It doesn't really show up that well in pedal demos, so I'm going to play it a little bit more in that kind of like lo-fi, detuned sort of style. So let's have a listen to that now. All right, everyone, this is the JHS Unicorn V2. I'm very excited to have my first JHS pedal. I'm hoping it won't be my last. There's a whole bunch of their other pedals that I want to try, and I'm going to link below to where you can check this out if you're in the market. I will also say that for a photocell Univibe, this is very reasonably priced. There are a lot of very expensive Univibe pedals out there. There are some decent, cheaper ones. A lot of the cheaper ones sound kind of like a slightly bassy phaser. And not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's hard to capture the real natural tone of a Univibe. I think this one does it really well. It's probably one of my top ones. And again, this is not a sponsored review. I picked up this pedal on my own. So I'm going to link below to where you can check this out. That is an affiliate link. If you shop through that link, supports my channel at no additional cost to you. I'm Jack Fossett. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.